Sasol area means it's Sasol Rally time again, with one of the most popular events on the National Rally Canada this year, round 3 of the Stanek Rally Championship. Transport from an older era blends with the new when the Sasol Rally comes to town, with the town square in Sarby a hive of activity as crews from around the country went through last-minute preparations. The pre-start formalities also lead to a rise in tension, with some crews out to consolidate good starts to the Stanek Championship and others trying to make up for lost ground. A mini logjam in the points saw the VW Golf factory pair of Jan Habak and Douglas Judd go into the event on level terms with the Castrol Toyota of Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a tough event. I think it's going to be full tap from the word go. And I think if one can have an advantage for the rest of the season by winning this event, so I think this event will be a critical event in the rest of the championships.
On the start ramp, Motorsport South Africa Managing Director Beulah Skuman did the honours with Habak and Judd first car away in the VW Golf 4. They were followed by Damso and Hodgson in the Castrol Toyota entry, with Sasol hopes of a win on their own event resting with Paulo Piazzamuso and Richard Leake in the Sasol Motorcraft Ford Escort. The team total Toyota Conquest of Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley also among the entries in the Premier Class A8 category, with leg 1 of the event made up of 6 special stages. Organised by the South African Motorsport Club, the Sasol Rally is always a compact event, with the first leg special stages in familiar territory for National Championship regulars in the Sarby, Kraskop and Hazy View areas. Being first car on the road gave Habak and Judd an early psychological advantage on an event notorious for a dust problem. With the championship developing into a straight fight between Habak and Judd and Damso and Hodgson, both crews were expected to go on a charge early on. Damso and Hodgson were also having only their third outing together on a national championship event, with a long break between rounds 2 and 3 of the series.
It's been a long time we're having a proper rally. We've done a few regionals in between, and at last we got here, and I've always enjoyed the Sasol Rally. It's been a very good event to me.
Behind the two factory crews, there was keen anticipation of a tight battle between the Sasol Motorcraft pair of Piazzamuso and Leake and the team total pairing of Lawrence and Paisley. Damso and Hodgson struck an early blow of their own by taking 5 seconds off Habak and Judd in special stage 1, while the Piazzamuso-Leake scrap with Lawrence and Paisley also got off to a good start, with only 3 seconds separating the two cars after the opening salvos had been fired.
Turn off 90 right.
Stakes on the Sasol Rally were also high for reigning Class A6 champions Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz.
Up until now we had 2 good events. We lying third in the championship at this stage. I always enjoy the Sasol. Last year we came third overall, and we hope to improve.
Class A7 champions Chart van der Walt and Cindy Harding were looking for a return to form in the Reeks towing VW Golf, with the team total Toyota Conquest pair of Jean-Pierre Damso and Pierre Aris again central figures in a Class A6 rivalry with Fecken and Lukowitz. Much was expected of that battle, while KwaZulu-Natalians Tony Ball and Marty Olivier in the Bulwer Park VW Golf and Pretoria crew Barry Robelaar and Mike Burrows in the team total Golf were part of the Class A7 equation. After a brief sortie into Class A7, popular Hannes Grobler was back in Class N3 in the total Bridgestone Nissan Sentra and was quickly setting the pace in the Group N category.
I'm glad to be back in Group N, and we've got, I think, 5-6 events to catch up with the other guys, and I think if the other guys do well during the year, we'll have to nearly win every rally in Group N to win the championship again, so it's going to be tough.
There were interesting entries on the Sasol Rally in the 2 ex-factory Daewoo Lanos cars, driven by Kali van der Merwe and Cape Townian Fernando Rueda, with rumours that the ex-factory Daewoo driver Enzo Kuhn may soon be on the comeback trail. Behind the 2 Daewoos, Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen, the team total Nissan Sentra, were chasing after Hannes Grobler, while at one of the early service parks, Chart van der Walt was in confident frame of mind.
We decided we must now do something in the championship and get a few points, so we've done a little bit of work on the car, and the handling is a bit improved, so I think we can, this is why we're doing good stage times at this point in time, so but I think we can do better.
Van der Velde and Harding had taken the early lead in Class A7, but behind the front runners there was also some serious rallying on the go. Journalists Dion Schoeman and Jan Syme were at play in the Castrol Toyota Hilux running in Class S20, while Class N3 contenders Alan Worms and Brendan Noonan were in the wars after rolling the team total Opel Corsa. The Worms-Noonan mishap moved Mike Houghton and Brian Doherty up a place in Class N3, with the pair fighting a private duel with Dave and Wayne Watt in a battle of Toyota Taz entries. The immediate target for both crews were Class N3 leaders Rodney Fasaki and Caroline Simmer in the team total Toyota Taz. Up at the start of Special Stage 4, Jan Habik and Douglas Judd now trailed Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson by 6 seconds. As was expected, the two factory crews were throwing everything but the kitchen sink at each other and were already more than half a minute ahead of the rest of the field. These are marvellous in-car camera shots of a top rally crew at work, and this is no Sunday family outing with Gran and the kids in the back seat. Conscious of the role dust could play later on in the event, Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson were doing their darnest to build up some sort of time cushion.
Straight over the clearing and 90 right at the T-junction on the other side. Over the clearing, 90 right, open. A little bit open.
The Sasol Motorcraft Ford Escort had slipped back to 4th place, with the major target for Paolo Piazzamuso and Richard Leake a place on the podium at the end of the event.
We've been on the podium twice now, but just not got it to the end. There's always been that little sting in the tail for us. We've done a lot of development on the car now. We are a lot more confident, and I'm really hoping that we can pull through for our sponsors on this event.
The Sasol Ford had dropped 8 seconds behind Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley, who had started to build up a head of steam in the team total Toyota Conquest. Steam was also on Jan Habik's mind, but it meant a potential problem for the VW factory crew.
Near the end of the stage, I saw the water temperature at 120 degrees C, and we've now established that a water clamp has come loose and it lost all its water near the end of the stage. We can fix it, that's not a problem. But the real issue now is to see whether it's done any damage.
Special Stage 5 with the Dunair Toyota Conquest of Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz out in front in the Class A6 battle. Showing signs of a much-needed return to form, Chad van der Velde and Cindy Harding were at the front of Class A7 and were running 5th overall. Van der Velde and Harding were being chased by Class A6 crew JP Damso and Pierre Aris, who were part of a scrap that included Class A7 contenders Tony Ball and Marty Olafia in the Bulwer Park Golf, and Barry Hrobler and Mike Burrows in the team total Golf. The front of the Group N field had a familiar ring about it, with Hannes Hrobler and Nick Haddon in the total Bridgestone Nissan, gradually easing away from arch rivals Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen in the team total Nissan. Eastern Cape crew Keith Coleman and Uwe Koch had dropped down in the Class A7 pecking order, and they found themselves in among what was developing into a free-for-all among Toyota Corolla entries in Class N2. Third in the Class N2 scrap were Western Cape crew Diffie Moreira and Donny Duval. They were chasing after the team total crew Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper, who made a cautious start to fall behind reigning drivers champion Scott Berger and Martin Wutter in the Bridgestone Quality Tyres Toyota Corolla. Bringing up the rear were Cobus Roos and Neil Ferree, who lost 13 minutes via a Special Stage 3 mishap. Late afternoon back in Sardi, with Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson leading Jan Habik and Douglas Judd by just 7 seconds after the 6 stages, making up leg 1 of the Sasol Rally. Service crews were hard at work with running repairs, but for some it was too late. The Kemsley Haddocker BMW never made it to the start with a clutch problem, giving them the weekend off. With 6 night stages up ahead, out came an impressive array of spotlights to make the average motorist drool with envy. The service and regroup park also gave crews the opportunity to take stock of the day's proceedings, with Cobus Roos in philosophical mood.
No, we really had a good start this afternoon. We were really on the pace. We were taking time off the guys and we were quite confident. Stage 3 I had a bit of a mishap. I went off for 15 minutes. So it's really put us out the event. But we got it back onto the road and we're just trying to get it to the finish now and obviously still see what times we can do. We're still on the pace, so I'm quite happy at the moment, although we've lost the 15 minutes.
The second of the night special stages on day one, with a huge crowd lining the streets of Sabi. From Sabi, the second leg of the Sasol Rally saw competitors head for White River and the overnight halt in Nelspruit. The crucial sections were stages 9 and 10, with both of them run on dirt. All of the other night stages were run on tar, with 3 of them spectator-orientated affairs, which take rallying to the people and which provides huge entertainment for local residents and rally enthusiasts.
You right, 50, 90 left, 90 left now, go left, into chicane right, chicane left.
The Sabi stage was won by Paolo Piazzamuso and Richard Leake in the Sasol Ford Escort. Piazzamuso has a reputation of being a tar specialist and also shared the fastest time on special stage 7 with Havoc. Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley had a smooth run in the team total Toyota Conquest, and with all the top drivers wary of clipping curbs, a practice that can have serious repercussions in terms of rearranging suspension layouts. The risk of accident damage was never a proposition where Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz were concerned. Tragedy struck for the Class A6 leaders when the Dunair Toyota Conquest coasted to a halt a few meters into the special stage with an engine management system gremlin throwing a spanner in their works. The incident was to cost Fecken and Lukowitz 15 minutes and effectively killed off their hopes of a class win and a top 5 finish. The Fecken-Lukowitz misfortune took some of the pressure off Class A7 leaders Chart van der Walt and Cindy Harding, but the big winners were JP Damso and Pierre Aries. The pair now found themselves leading Class A6 by a comfortable margin in the team total Toyota Conquest, and the pressure was also off where they were concerned. It had been a difficult day for Tony Ball and Marty Olivier in the Bulwer Park VW, with special stages 5 and 6 costing them time. Ball and Olivier crossed paths with Fecken and Lukowitz in stage 8, with the Toyota pair trying to stay out of everyone's way as they struggled to get the stricken Dunair car out of the special stage. The dreaded curb syndrome caught up with Kali van der Merwe and Andre Vermeulen in one of the ex-factory Daewoo's. Their mistake cost them 8 minutes, with the Daewoo Lanos needing spectator assistance to be pushed out of the stage. They were not as fortunate as Fecken and Lukowitz, who were still running, but their major target now was to try and salvage as many precious championship points as possible.
This stage, Sabi stage, we just had a gremlin in the electronics coming from somewhere, and the car just died on me. Eventually we got through. We lost 15 minutes, and now we're back chasing again. We're in for the championship, so we're just going to try and see how many championship points we still can get, so we're pushing hard.
When they went into special stage 11 in White River with another huge crowd on hand to watch the action, the VW factory crew of Jan Habak and Douglas Judd could afford to lose a few seconds here and there. They now had a lead of around 2 minutes after main rivals Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson went off the road in their Castrol Toyota Conquest in special stage 10 when an anti-roll bar broke. In getting the car back on the road, Damso also suffered a painful leg injury, which was to become a physical hindrance for the tough, tight spectator stages.
Whoa. 200, do a U right. That's 100, do a U right. Oh, come back on yourself. U right.
Damso and Hodgson were now in 3rd place, with the Toyota crew under attack from Paolo Piazzamuso and Richard Leake in the Sasol Motorcraft Ford Escort, who came up with another tar stage victory. Up into 2nd place after the Damso-Hodgson mishap were Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley in the team total Toyota, who now had a cushion of around a minute over the factory-entered car. Into the final special stage of the day in Nelspruit, and looking for their first class win of the season, Chart van der Walt and Cindy Harding were still leading Class A7 and were 5th overall. There was another mass turnout of rally enthusiasts at the Riverside Mall in Nelspruit, where competitors were involved in a dash for cash, sponsored by the M020 Casino. Piazzamuso's tar skills earned him another spectator stage victory. JP Damso and Pierre Aries were just 2 seconds adrift. Behind them, another team total crew in Barry Krobler and Mike Burrows were keeping the pressure on Van der Walt and Harding, and had crept up into 6th place overall. On the Group N front, Hannes Krobler and Nick Hadden in the total Bridgestone Nissan Sentra led both the overall standings and Class N3. That was hardly a surprise to rally aficionados following the Sasol Rally, with the former SA champion and Nick Hadden up into 8th place overall. They had a cushion of around half a minute over Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen in the team total Nissan, with the KwaZulu-Natal crew also up into the top 10 overall. The Class N2 free-for-all was still going on, but there had been a change in leadership, with team total Toyota Corolla pair Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper now ahead of Skalk Burger and Martin Buerta in the Bridgestone Quality Tyres car. Burger and Buerta ended the stage trailing a fair piece of the organisers' bunting put up for crowd control, with Class A6 pair Craig Trott and Brian Duncan one of a group of 5 cars separated by less than a minute. The end of an interesting day on the Sasol Rally, with Jan Habak and Douglas Judd firmly in control of proceedings and looking good bets to break the deadlock at the top of the championship table. Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson were left with a mountain to climb, but the first day also produced its hassle factors for the overnight leaders.
Well, you know, we were, between Serge and myself, we were both on the edge all day, and it was very easy to make a mistake, and obviously, well, fortunately for me, he was the one that made the first mistake, and that's given us a 2.5 minute cushion. But we're not having it all our own way. We have a small problem with the steering rack and the steering pump, and we're going to change it now, and I think the car will be back on full steam tomorrow morning.
An early morning restart in Nelspruit on the second and final day of the Sasol Rally, with 1997 South African champions Jan Habak and Douglas Judd sitting pretty in the factory VW Golf 4 with a lead of 1 minute and 52 seconds. Slotting in behind the VW crew were KwaZulu-Natal pair Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley in the team total Toyota Conquest. Ahead of crews lay 11 special stages in an area bordered by Nelspruit, White River and Sabi, and the stage finishing back in Nelspruit with a super special. Proceedings got underway with the short tar stage and a new development on the outskirts of Nelspruit. The early morning start did not deter the locals and rally enthusiasts, who again turned out in their droves. The opening stage produced nothing out of the ordinary, although there was a great deal of interest in the early progress of Castrol Toyota Works driver Serge Damso, who needed medical attention overnight for that injured leg.
There's a 90 right here, sweep 90 right. Sweep 90 right, stand by, and that's the finish. Thank you.
Paolo Piazzamuso and Richard Leake for once failed to win a tar stage in the Sasol Motorcraft Ford Escort, while Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding started the day leading Class A7, with the Reeks towing VW Golf only 19 seconds ahead of team total pair Barry Probelar and Mike Burrows in a similar car. Young JP Damso and Pierre Aries were comfortably out in front in Class A6 and solidly ensconced in the top 10. An interesting day lay ahead on the Group N front, with just 30 seconds separating Hannes Hrobler and Nick Hadden and Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen in the Nissan Sentras. The Group N pair was separated by the Daewoo Lanos of Fernando Ruedo and Johan Seeling, with an upbeat mood in the team total Nissan Sentra of Cliff Blackman.
Yeah, 20 seconds is all Hannes has got on us at the moment. We're not going to let him have his own way today. We're certainly going to make him work for his position. All it is one puncher. So it's very tight at the moment.
After their day one woes, Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz were resigned to a day of playing catch-up in the Dunair Toyota Conquest. Full speed ahead was their only option, but for Class N2 leaders Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper, there were a couple of tactical options to be considered as the day wore on.
We've got to keep the championship in mind, and the guys that are ahead of us are quite far behind us on points, so we've just got to look at that and keep that in mind, you know.
Skalk Burger and Martin Buerta were chasing after Saunders and Hooper, and hot on their heels with a Class S20 crew of Jackie Joubert and Donnie Smith in the 4x4 VW Beetle, powered by a Volvo motor. The Beetle was on a charge, but up at the service point, Serge Damso wasn't finding the going a bed of roses.
I've got a problem. I pulled one of the muscles on my leg last night when we went off in the dust. I try and get the car back on the road, and that's not too bad, but I just lost power steering last night too, so it's not been easy for me today.
And as for Hannes Hrobler, the former South African champion was as jovial as ever.
I think it's very nice that the Group N cars are that close. It's good for a competition, and it's good for the spectators, and it's good for the Group N rallying. It just shows you that the guys had a wake-up call. I see the guys in A7 also had a wake-up call. They're a little bit ahead of us.
The big crowds also flocked to forest stages, and with the rally entering the home stretch, there were a few niggles here and there for top contenders. Class A7 leaders Sjoerd van der Walt and Cindy Harding ran into a camshaft belt problem, and clocking in late at a time control cost them a 1-minute penalty. The Reeks Towing VW Golf was still being chased by the team total VW Golf of Barry Hrobler and Mike Burrows, with Class A6 leaders of Jean-Pierre Damso and Pierre Aries in the thick of battle with the Class A7 frontrunners. Group N and Class N3 leaders Hannes Hrobler and Nick Haddon were still going well in the total Bridgestone Nissan Sentra, while Fernando Rueda and Johan Steeling had climbed into the top 10 in the X-Factory Daewoo Lanos. Behind them, Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen were gradually losing ground in the Group N battle and dropped a few more seconds in Special Stage 17. When Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukovitz arrived on the scene at a rapid rate of knots, they gave a section of the crowd a bit of a wake-up call. The spectators were having a ball, with Class N2 leaders Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper also providing them with some excitement, although they could not quite match the standards set by Fecken and Lukovitz. The Yucky Hubert Donnie Smith VW Beetle Volvo was still on a charge, with four-wheel drive and advantage for a crew who spend their time vacillating between rallying and the National Off-Road Championship. The pace was a little more sedate by the time Rodney Fasaki and Caroline Simmer arrived on the scene in the team total Toyota Taz, with the pair well in control of Class N1. At the final regroup before the start of the last leg, there was a lot of activity going on around the Sasol Motorcraft Ford Escort.
We had a bolt and the suspension come loose on us, and that could have been quite catastrophic. If that bolt had come out, we would have lost the suspension completely. Luckily it was held in by the sump, so we still managed to take 10 off Serge, and we're still in. So we'll see in his last leg if we can close the gap with him. Maybe we can get that podium.
There were also serious problems for Barry Hrobler and Mike Burrows.
Well, not yet. We've dropped back 2 minutes. Was trying a bit hard, and we left the road and hit a bank. We've just replaced the rear axle now again, and we seem to be having a little bit of caliper trouble, but we'll be back in there again. We'll see what we can make up.
At the front of the field, Jan Hammock and Doug Judd were cruising along, but behind them a little pressure was starting to build on Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley.
Left onto another road, step up, loose in corner. 200, hairpin left onto another road, loose in corner, step up 100.
That pressure building on Lawrence and Paisley was being exerted by a rejuvenated Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson in the factory Castrol Toyota Conquest. With power steering once more operative on the Toyota, Damso and Hodgson were on a charge and taking great chunks of time off the team total car. Hopes of a podium finish were starting to recede for Paolo Piazzamuso and Richard Leake. The Toyotas of Lawrence Paisley and Damso and Hodgson had a tight hold on second and third, and there was late heartbreak for the Sasol Ford Escort pair when they dropped out on the penultimate special stage. It was turning into a good day for Jean-Pierre Damso and Pierre Aries. Apart from leading Class A6, they would have moved into 5th overall with the late demise of Piazzamuso and Leake. Despite their 1-minute penalty and struggle with braking problems, Sjoerd van der Walt and Cindy Harding still led Class A7 by around 3 minutes, and they moved into 4th place. Hannes Hrobler and Nick Haddon now had a firm grip on the Group N category and Class N3. They were 2 minutes clear of Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen, with the team total Nissan dropping back to 3rd overall in the Group N category when they were caught by Class N2 leaders Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper, who had a great second day in the team total Toyota Corolla. Their best performance of the season so far saw Skalk Berger and Martin Buerter running second in Class N2, while a final day charge saw Tony Ball and Marty Olivier take the Bulwer Park VW Golf from 13th to 6th overall and second in Class A7. Another steady run saw Craig Trott and Brian Duncan slip into 2nd place. That was in Class A6, with the pair comfortably ahead of KwaZulu-Natal crew Chris de Witt and Alec Harris. Western Cape pair Diffie Moreira and Donnie de Vol were a solid 3rd in Class N2, while Fissa du Plessis and Lisa Joubert gave Nissan a clean sweep in Class N3. Down in the baby Class N1, the battle of the Toyota Taz Brigade went to championship leaders Rodney Fasaki and Caroline Simmer, with Mike Houghton and Brian Doherty the only other finishers in the class. The final super special stage back in Nelspruit with cars up against each other 2 at a time on a mirror image course. The big interest was whether or not Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson could make up a 2-second deficit on Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley to snatch second place. Rally leaders Habak and Judd weren't taking any late chances, and in a grandstand finish, Damso and Hodgson took 6 seconds off Lawrence and Paisley. The sort of crowds you only expect to see at circuit racing meetings around South Africa packed into the special stage. Spectators stood shoulder to shoulder to catch a glimpse of the cars and were rewarded with some hectic action and a few close shaves along the way in a dramatic finale to a hugely successful rally. The deadlock at the top of the Stanek Rally Championship was broken with Jan Habak and Doug Judd now 7 points clear of Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson, who just squeezed into second place. 7th overall gave Hannes Grobler and Nick Haddon the Group N honours and Class N3, and there were also class wins for Van der Walt and Harding, Damso and Aries, Saunders and Hooper, and Versace and Simmer.
You know, we had a fairly easy task today, and all we had to do was really keep the concentration going, and the car behaved itself very well. We had a few small gremlins, but generally it went absolutely perfect, and I think the whole team is delighted with the performance.
A narrow second place brought a rare smile from 7-time South African champion Serge Damso. Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley were obviously delighted with their podium finish, with the champagne also flowing for Group N winners Hannes Grobler and Nick Haddon.